Now going on to the culture part of the podcast, you have Bud Light cracks open even more firings thanks to, in regards to the Dylan Mulvaney Business Blunder of the Century, as you have a marketing company lay off about 20% more of their employees. Now this specifically is in regard to an ad firm that was tied to Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. It looks like even some top executives were let go, which the fact that this didn't happen 6 to 8 months ago is beyond me. This is the best example of having a disconnect, or I guess a good example would be if you're into sports balls, swinging the bat and just missing the football completely. But it's one of those things where the marketing company clearly did not know or care the current demographics of who purchased Bud Light, or maybe they did and they just had the hubris to think we're going to revolutionize the whole thing, like Alyssa Heiderchild, the VP of Marketing the former VP of Marketing at Anheuser-Busch InBev. Now, it looks like a California marketing firm is linked to the business blunder of the century, and they hired many of the top executives as part of major restructuring. It looks like the San Mateo based, and this is thanks to the New York Post, their name is called, this marketing company is Captive 8, which I do appreciate a good, I don't know if it's not necessarily a pun, but a play on words. It's actually spelled out CAPTIV and then 8 in terms of the numerical 8. And I suppose the idea is we want to captivate ideas or something to that regard. So I appreciate a good pun or wordplay. So they get their name, I should clarify, gets a B for marketing. Their execution in terms of what they do as a company, they get an F minus. Because again, this is the biggest business blunder, I would say, ever. Even New Coke, which, again, one of the fascinating things in terms of beverage business blunders, Coca-Cola was, they're behind PepsiCo for years in terms of sales in North America. So they decided to come out with a new formula. They actually tested the formula, people loved it, and they came out with New Coke, and they had an iconic spokesman at the time, Bill Cosby, among others. And there was such a huge pushback because people felt like the original Coke that they loved and fell in love with for decades was being taken away from them. There was such a huge backlash. Coca-Cola nearly immediately came back with the original formula. And that's why to this day, if you actually look at the small fine print, it says Coca-Cola Classic. Because for a while they had to delineate this as a specific formula that you actually want, not the new Coke. Now, in terms of this business blunder, yeah, and actually some people say, I do not think that Coca-Cola did that intentionally in terms of they knew it was going to fail and then bring it back and then be more popular, because that did help actually them beat Pepsi long term, for at least short term with the sales, because people kind of like you want something you can't have. When they bring it back, a lot of people want it even more perhaps. Interesting phenomenon. Now this is a case where, again, fiscal Q3 results will be released shortly, because thankfully they're publicly traded companies, a lot of data we can get about them. But with fiscal Q2, Bud Light sales just $400 million evaporated compared to the same fiscal Q2 last year. And every week, sales are about 30% down by dollar amount and between 26 and 27% on volume amount. And they continue to attempt to give it away. So needless to say, I'm surprised Captive 8 is still in business, because again, would you hire this company? Now, don't get me wrong, depending on the politics of your company, they may very well get a very lucrative contract at something like a Starbucks, which, politically speaking, is much more to the left on average. Now, it looks like specifically this marketing company got rid of 13 staffers back in July, and after top executives returned from a lavish junket to French Riviera, they axed 30 employees, about 20% of the workforce, in the latest round, and this according to multiple resources reporting to the Post. They claim that it's not clear whether the Captive 8's shakeup, which happened September 28, was a direct result of the Mulvaney fiasco, which led to Bud Light losing their 2-decade position of being the number one beer in North America. This is a business blunder of the century. You're the top brand for 2 decades. You have more sales than anyone else. And thanks to one marketing promo, thanks to one moronic executive signing off, or actually no, it's probably multi-moronic executives signing off on this, is gone. They'll never have that realm again, ever. It's going to be decades for the demographics of the United States to change in order for them. And if you look at the demographics of the United States, it would have to be on the same trajectory in terms of the growth of politically and orientation on the far left to actually make that decision a profitable decision. So again, conceivably, this could make them profitable long term. I'm talking 30 years. And that's, again, if everything is changing in the same correlation, the same rates that they have for the past couple of years. there are no certainty. There's not much certainty in business usually. Now, it looks like, let's see, Bud Light. They claim that they blamed the third party for sending the influencer known as Dylan Mulvaney the can of Bud Light featuring the image of Dylan. This is very respectful of the New York Post to use Dylan's preferred pronouns. And it's fascinating to see, again, I don't know who's a moron, what's the nice way to say a moron, mentally vacuous person at Anheuser-Busch, but to give the reins of your intellectual property to a third-party marketing company, that's concerning to say the least, considering it's beer. A majority of it is marketing, very similar to Pepsi and Coke. Yes, if you're blindfolded, some people can taste the difference of which high fructose corn syrup junk in a can actually tastes better, but a lot of it is marketing. It's the brand. That's perhaps the most important thing when it comes to low calorie, light beer. And they trusted this other company to do it. They had to have signed off on this at Bud Light. There's no way that they gave this marketing company no oversight. Just, do whatever you want. No way that happened. So, of course, they're attempting to blame the marketing company. Like, it's all their fault. No, I don't think so. Especially when you have Alyssa Hirschchild, the former VP of marketing. And on LinkedIn, she's very proud to be the first female. And I guarantee you she will never be forgotten, to her credit. But it's one of those instances where in her video, she actually said, Bud Light's too fratty, so we're going to change it. So, Bud Light, your executives are saying this, kind of proving the point that, you knew what was going on. So it'll be interesting to see. About 20% of them are gone. And then someone is saying, we've all seen, one of the workers that was let go was saying Captivate would spend a lot of money on parties. Lavish spending has been consistent with the company. Again, a lot of these companies, it's just the pure hubris of the situation. They just think they could do no wrong. They're just geniuses. They always know what's right. Ridiculous. And I certainly think they probably weren't expecting the competition to be around. Bud Light, if they're hiring third-party marketing companies, they sure as hell better be picking the antithesis of Captivate. Some of the exact opposite of that. But granted, literally nothing could... It would be hard-pressed to do worse than what this company did in terms of performance. But it's one of those things where I can't help but think, Captivate just flew too close to the sun, so to say. Thought they could do no wrong. There's other reports of them chartering private flights, which I actually don't really care about that. Depending on the monetary value of the people in the plane and your time value, private jets actually make sense from a fiscal perspective. That's why some businesses use them. A lot of people are saying, a lot of them were just wasting money left and right. So it'll be... No, wait, database, 1 million influencers. It looks like the company boasts, and this is from the New Reports continuing the article, quote, the company boasts a database of more than 1 million influencers on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and counts McDonald's, Disney, Toyota, Nordstrom, Macy's, and Ocean Spray as among its clients. Ooh. Well, I'm not too surprised they have Disney as a client, since Disney and marketing, they seem to be... Ooh, that'd be a great question. Who's worse at marketing a product, Disney or Bud Light? Both used to make products for the whole mass market. Well, Bud Light, 21 plus, with the exception of this hiring someone whose average, Dylan's average audience member is 15 years old, which I believe is part of the controversy as well. But these companies used to, on average, make their products for the mass audiences. They just decided we're going to go for a niche audience, which, depending on what product you're making, may make sense. Like if you're the Daily Wire, a very large, fast-growing conservative media company, makes sense. That's going to be your core, that's your target market. That's how your views are going to skew. That's where you're going to promulgate in terms of your ideals, your marketing. That makes sense. Same with CNN. CNN's far left. They're going to go for that audience. Fox News goes for 18 people who are still on life support, presumably. But if you're someone like Toyota, fire this company yesterday. Because then Toyota is known for making the most bulletproof vehicles, bar none, basically. Vehicles for everyone. And yet one commercial could shoot yourself in the foot. And again, when it comes to reliability, you see these articles and they're fascinating to see the engineering they put into these vehicles. They'll last a quarter of a century or 1 million miles. Which also goes to the reason I prefer an internal combustion engine as opposed to an EV hybrid. Because again, those will not last half as long. And personally, I prefer, I was going to say, good ROI when I'm getting out of those products. which is why I still drive an ICE or internal combustion engine. And it's the best type of transmission. It's a manual transmission with 3 pedals, like every vehicle should have by default. It's the most fun you'll ever have. I highly recommend getting into it. But nevertheless, getting back to these companies, you got Disney, Toyota, McDonald's, Nordstrom, Macy's, Ocean Spray, which I was going to say, this company, in terms of marketing, those commercials are pretty interesting in terms of Ocean Spray. You're convincing someone to buy a can of sugar water, which isn't usually the easiest thing. It's also cranberry juice is what I know Ocean Spray for. Again, I'm no doctor, but if you click the subscribe button, it may cure my stuttering. I'm not, but no, by no means a doctor, but if you haven't tried it yet, it could fix it. Perhaps, probably, maybe. Never know. But nevertheless, let me know. Do you think McDonald's should just axe this company again yesterday? Same with Toyota, Nordstrom, Macy's. I mean, this company destroyed Bud Light. I can't get over the fact 30% of their sales week over week are just gone. And actually, it's even worse than gone, is going to the competition, who, fascinatingly enough, they're not gaining a direct proportion, they're gaining more. So not only are people buying less Bud Light, they're replacing it with others at a greater rate. You look at Yangling, which, in terms of supporting locally owned and family business, surprisingly, they're still family owned, and they're the oldest brewery in the United States. So that's something to think about. Personally, I appreciate when I purchase products for business events that I'm hosting. Yangling is going up between 18 and 22% week over week on average. Modelo, as Coors, all those are usually up above between 13 to 18% on average in terms of their sales per week. They're all killing it, so to say. All thanks to this one marketing company. All thanks to Captive 8, who certainly did not captivate any hearts or minds with that campaign. Quite the opposite. The antithesis, they actually alienated 30% of the audience. So great job, Captive 8. Let me know. Do you think so these companies just fire him ASAP, or will you give him another shot? It'd be interesting to see, but love to hear what you have to say. Thank you again for taking the time to tune in today. Cannot thank you enough. Trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of October, so if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Any suggestions to make the show better are always welcome to the comments section. I might take a day or two to get to them depending on my work schedule, but I always try to do my best to address all the comments. I appreciate the critique to make the show better. Also, lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.